These two Triton valves occasionally can have problems with them, and what you have to do is to replace the cartridge. These have had various names over the years. There's the LP and HP cartridge. It's also been known as the 4 and 5000 series, and the Combi cartridge. Without any question of a doubt, if you can, replace them complete with the housings. If you can't, then we've got to replace the cartridges. And what we'll do is go on and show you how to take the old cartridge out. It doesn't matter which valve you have, they all come apart in the same way. Basically, there's 4 screws, and it's the most recessed screws that you need to remove. There's 2 that are near the surface, and it looked pretty easy to get at, but it's the ones that are furthest back that you need to unscrew. And there are 4 of them. I've only put 2 in just so I can demonstrate this. That's these screws out. Now, rather usefully, what Triton have done is they've put big slots in here so you can get a screwdriver in to lever the cartridge out. So you really need 2 screwdrivers in here, and just turn or twist, and the cartridge should lever out and pull forward like that. That's the cartridge out. Now, the low pressure cartridge comes out in exactly the same way. The one problem you can have with it is it's much stickier to come out. I have, in fact, in the past had to take these cartridges out with a hammer and an old wood chisel to get it out. Nevertheless, it will come, but it can be more difficult than taking a Combi cartridge out. So what we'll do now is we'll move on to putting a new Combi cartridge into the housing. Fitting the Combi cartridge is relatively easy. Just sort of one thing to look out for is there are locating pins in the cartridge, just here, and holes for the pins to go into in the housing. So you just got to make sure that these are lined up. If the cartridge doesn't go all the way home first time, just take it out and make sure that you've got the pins and the holes lined up correctly. And it should just push in like that, fairly simple job, and then pop the screws back in. Once they're in, you turn the water on and you should have a perfectly good working shower. Now that we've done the Combi cartridge, we'll move on to the low pressure cartridge, which is a good bit more can be a good bit more difficult. This is how to fit the low pressure cartridge. You can see the cartridge is very different, but the same as the Combi cartridge, it has 2 locating pins either side, and so does the housing. One of the things to watch out for, though, is that the very older housings don't have the holes for the locating pins. If you have an old housing that doesn't have the holes, just snap the pins off and be very careful as you push the cartridge back. Where this cartridge becomes much more difficult is when you place it into the housing. Make sure the seals are well greased, and it should just slip in and all the way back. In truth, that's gone in beautifully, but it doesn't always happen that way. Often what happens is that as you push this in, the seals roll back and pop out at the top, and therefore the cartridge won't go all the way home. And that can be a problem. You can put the cartridge in and out a dozen times and it still won't seal properly. We've found that the only way to get around that problem is to glue the seals in. Now, to do this, you need to be very careful. You need to take the seal out and clean the seal very carefully to make sure all of the silicone you've got on it is off. Also clean the groove that the seal fits in, and then with one of the sort of super glues that have got the little brush in the end, is very carefully paint a little super glue into the groove. Once you've done that, pop the seal back in, being very, very careful to make sure that you don't get any super glue on the face of the seal. You basically have to do that with all the seals, get them all properly glued home, and once they're all in place, then give it a few minutes to dry to make sure that they actually do fit properly. Then you can, just to get this round the right way, I think that's it, then you can push this cartridge back in. Once again, you have to be very careful. If you can, try and get a look at here, this here, because you'll see the seal bellying out if it's not going in properly. But that's it, it's back in. once that's back in, it's just really a case of putting 2 screws in and turning the water, and it should work perfectly after that. So that's how we do that. There's another problem that we have sometimes with the button, and if you just stick with this video, you'll see how to fix that in a moment. Now, rather cleverly, Triton's put this button on the front of the cartridge. This is supposed to be a safety device, and so when you turn it so far, it sticks, and you have to press this button in to get it to turn any further. It's supposed to be safety so that kids or elderly people can't turn it past a sort of safe temperature. To get it any hotter, you press the button in and turn it. This button is an absolute nightmare. It's incredibly difficult to press in, and in fact it's worse than useless. So I'm going to show you how to fix this. What we need to do is take this cover off here. There's a little hole in there to get into it, and remove the screw that holds the temperature knob in place. And then we've just got to take the temperature knob itself off, like so. And this is the thing that causes the problem here. This part, that the knob comes round and hits this, and what you've got to do is press that in, and when it presses in, it stops it allows the knob to go further around. The problem is that the knob is very tight. So what you can do is take this and just move it slightly further around, which means that it adjusts the temperature maximum setting. In truth, as long as you're not worried about children, what you really need to do is take this bit and throw it away. Throw it away and put the knob back on, and you'll find that the knob will move very easily all the way around, and you won't have that problem. Finally, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to change a low pressure cartridge into a Combi cartridge. There's a conversion kit to do that, and that follows along. If you've had a Combi boiler fitted and you still have a low pressure cartridge, you may find that it's either dripping or it's not controlling the water temperature properly. So what we need to do is to replace it for a Combi cartridge. As I've said before, the easy thing to do is to replace it complete with the housing. If not, there is a retro kit to change over, and this is it here. This one goes in the outlet, and this one goes just to plug off the other hole in the cartridge, depending which way the cartridge is, and it should just slip back into place like that, and that's it fitted once it's all screwed back together. The other thing that comes with the kit is 2 flow limiters. You may find that if you're having difficulty setting the temperature, that to put a flow limiter, usually in the cold side, to limit the flow and reduce the pressure in the cold. So there we are, that's the cartridge changed in the high pressure and Combi Triton valves. None of it terribly difficult, but we've covered all the problems that you're likely to face. If you want to keep up with the rest of the Shower Doctor videos, just subscribe to our channel and you'll get the latest videos.